Well, hello there, ladies and gentlemen. Ambrose Blofield here from the Sales Mastery Company. Forgive me for hopping onto my phone. Usually I'm doing this on the desktop, and there seems to be a city-wide blackout at the moment, temporarily, or certainly in this part of Auckland right now. What I wanted to speak about today was to stop making excuses and to start making more success of your sales team moving ahead. In fact, today being the 31st of March 2022, today is the financial year end for New Zealand and also for the UK and other people who adopt the British financial system. So today is a perfect time for Kiwi and UK businesses to stop and reflect over what the last 12 months lessons are, so that we can maximize our success moving forward. Likewise, in Australia, we've typically got 3 months to go to the end of the financial year. So now's a perfect time to stop and reflect and review the last 9 months to make sure you maximize the next 90 days. And equally, if you do, as many people are now doing, shift your financial focus or certainly your planning focus to the end of the calendar year, then obviously we're at the end of the first quarter. So now's a perfect time to stop, think, reflect, and then, of course, move forward. So a few quick things, if I may. I want to share with you some tips about how to review the last year or the last quarter or the last 9 months. Also, make sure we're clear around where we can grow for the year ahead, regardless of your financial or calendar year focus. And then likewise, talk about some clear actions that we can take from today. So a few quick things, Mark. Thanks for your message. Appreciate that. So when we stop and review the last 12 months or the last 90 days or the last 9 months, there's a few things that most businesses do or most individuals do. So let's just start with what we are probably doing already. It's to stop and just take some time out, 5 minutes, 10 minutes, maybe half a day if you really have an involved year, to look at the start, stop, continue methodology. Most people are pretty comfortable with that. They do it in different aspects of their life. This is obviously around business and sales. So what is it that you should continue doing? So although we talk start, then stop, then continue, you need to start with the continues. What's been working for you after the last quarter, last 3 quarters, of the last 12 months that you're proud of and that you absolutely mustn't forget in the next 90 days, next few months, or certainly in the next year. So continue. Then the next step is we say start, then stop, then continue. So stop. What is it that you did or your team did in the last period, 1 year, let's say, if you're a financial year? What was it you were doing as a bad habit that was getting in the way of you maximizing either turnover or profit results in the last 12 months? So the next challenge, and that's a really tough thing because often that's looking in the mirror and saying, you know what, I had bad habits around time management, or I didn't fully prepare for meetings, or I didn't do all the follow-ups I should have done, or I didn't really have that proper mindset, or wasn't as resilient. So again, look at the continues because that makes you feel good. Look at the things that you should be stopping. And if you're not able to stop them, at least you should be working on to reduce. And then finally, start. What are some new habits? Because if we keep doing what we've always done, unfortunately, you won't even get what you've always got. The market's moved on. Your competitors have moved on. There's more challenging now. There's more cynicism from buyers now. There's less loyalty than there's ever been in history. You've got to keep earning the right, year upon year, earning the right to make the sales that you make. So again, start, stop, continue, but start to plan that in reverse. Continue, then stop, and then look at what do you need to change. Because if we keep doing what we've always done, we won't always get what we've always got. The next aspect is something really dear to my heart. I ran a masterclass on this recently. It's something that forms the foundation of our new sales or newly launched Sales Mastery Academy. And that is, if you're going to really maximize the year ahead, you've got to look at the compounding impact of all 4 areas of sales growth. I've literally just come off a call with people over in Western Australia where they've absolutely nailed 2 of these 4 areas. And for them, they're looking at subtle improvements of the other 2 so they can get a compounding effect of what they're already good at. In fact, many businesses we work with who are at that 10, 15, 20, $30 million mark, they're typically around looking at 1 or 2 areas they've nailed, and it's maybe 2 or 3 of these 4 areas they need to get clear on. So let's look at what we're talking about for those areas. For us, we break it down in our academy and other things when we're educating people into attract, close, grow, and scale. And as I go through this, I want you to think about looking at the last 12 months. How were we in this area? And look at the next 12 months, which should we be focusing on? It may be one of the four, it may be four of the four, but I want us to be clear. We have a compounding effect of this. If you improve in one, it feeds through to the next. And if you nail the next, it feeds through to the next. And you nail that next, it feeds through to the next. It is not those in isolation, like some parts of your business might be. This is literally around maximizing what you're getting out of each area and compounding an effect. So the attract is all focused on new business development. That's the language we use in sales. How good were we to prospect? Now, sure, your marketing team, and especially if you've adopted an inbound marketing policy or strategy, that's all about the attract. It's not just about attracting more customers and new opportunities. It's also about attracting the right ones. There is no point your team improving 20% around new business development, around attract, if you're not bringing the new people on that are right. They've got to be profitable. They've got to be loyal. They've got to fit your target customer profile. The next area, close. Now, this is an area I did want to touch on a little bit extra today around closing without discounting. Most salespeople, most sales managers, most business owners feel pretty confident in this area. My challenge to you is this: if you think over the last 12 months, are we good or are we consistently great when it comes to preparing for meetings, controlling conversations, handling objections, and closing without discounting and maximizing margin? Because if we look at the compounding effect of that, if you think that your sales team may do 20 calls a week, 20 meetings a month, whatever it happens to be as your numbers, if we're slightly better at the close without discounting phase, i.e. running outbound meetings and calls and visits, the difference between good and great is absolutely enormous once you compound it over a 12-month period. And once you start to realize this is affected by new business development. And the skill around this also affects our account management and our scalability as a sales team. So the question to genuinely ask yourself is, am I good, or are we good, or are we great? If you've not read the book Good to Great by Jim Collins, I believe it's one of the best 10 business books of all time. It is a little dry, so I would discourage you from reading it unless you truly love business like I do, and maybe just watch a 10 or 15-minute YouTube summary of it. But there's a great quote somewhere in the middle of the book, and this is after 20 to 30 years of business research. He said, good is the enemy of great. So when it comes to that second growth pillar, are you guys good or are you great every single time? That was an area that Procter & Gamble absolutely drilled into us. The vast majority of the time and training they put into us in our first year, when they spent $250,000 on our sales development and coached us on that, was about, great is the base level for all of us. We can be great, we can be excellent, but good is not good enough. Ever. Because over your lifetime in sales, you're going to have hundreds or probably thousands of meetings. And the difference long term in terms of sales results and profit margins between good and great is vastly different. Vastly, vastly different. The third area of growth is one really also close to my heart, also something drilled into me at Procter & Gamble, who at the time were the second most respected company on the planet, and certainly the number one consumer goods company, is around growing existing accounts. Again, it's also an area that I find a lot of people saying, oh yeah, we're pretty good at that. But when I drill into it and I say, so are your sales team members or your territory managers ever guilty of spending too much time with lesser customers who don't really have the potential to grow? The answer invariably is yes. We're spending time with nice people who may not deliver true profit to us long term. At the same time, the question is, are your territory managers spending enough time strategically growing your mid to high level customers? Or if they have some key accounts to look after, are they being strategic and managing them with a 3 to 5 year perspective? Not a 3 to 5 year wish or hope, but a strategy, which is key account management, a 3 to 5 year strategy of developing those accounts. Again, I find time and time again when people review the last 12 months, they'll say our team is good, but not necessarily great in account management. And I'd love you to take some time as a team today to think about that. The fourth area to look at is scaling. And obviously what we cover in the academy is really two aspects of scaling. One is scaling the inbound process. And when we talk about scaling our inbound sales process, the number one area to absolutely nail is the importance of qualifying in the right opportunities and the right customers and target customer profiles, and therefore qualifying out the wrong ones. In the same way with account management, we don't want to waste time on lesser customers. Now, I'm not saying they're lesser people or lesser humans, and I'm certainly not saying these guys don't deserve our respect and good customer service standards, but they don't deserve the investment of time. The proactive development of them doesn't warrant it in account management. The same goes for inbound opportunities, inbound inquiries. And this also ties back to if you've got an inbound marketing development strategy. The reality here is if your team are quoting the wrong jobs, it will take time to close them. You will invest time following them up. You will close some of them and annoy or upset your operations or customer service team potentially. And the challenge that we've got, or is really someone's commenting on Good to Great, is absolutely fantastic book. It's phenomenal. Just like The 7 Habits of Highly Effective People by Stephen Covey, absolutely world-class book as well, around personal development as well as business development. But when we think about the scaling of inbound, qualifying is critical because like attracts like in business. If your team quote the wrong jobs or projects, if your team don't get rid of the wrong clients, you will get more referrals to more of the wrong clients. So progressively you get slower. You kind of anti-scale if you're not strict. So you need criteria around that, and you need the skills to qualify fully. And then the other aspect around scaling your team is, what about your meeting cadence? How effective are you at running sales huddles, what we refer to in New Zealand often as hacker meetings or toolbox meetings? How often and effective are your weekly sales meetings? You know, that's something that we originally weren't going to put into our academy, but we've been asked to do so, where we're going to help run sales meetings for people to show people what world-class actually looks like and what motivation and accountability is required to have a high-performing team. So hopefully now that's given you some basis to review the last 12 months. It's given you some challenges to look at the 4 areas that when you nail all 4 of those areas, you will absolutely smash the next 12 months, the next 3 years, and the next 5 years after that. The reality here is world-class is world-class. Good is the enemy of great. And if you want some help, hopefully one member of our team will put a scale up call link into the comments in LinkedIn, so you've got access to that. If not, go onto our website, find the area where you can book in for a scale up call, or simply go into the academy section of the salesmasterycompany.com for the Sales Academy. It's one of our main programs, or it is our main program. Book in for a 50-minute call with one of our expert coaches to help you determine, where are you now? What is possible for the year ahead? And could we help you on that journey? We offer a money-back guarantee with our Sales Academy. Essentially, it's a 10x guarantee, meaning you'll get 10 times the return on investment, or it's on to us to make sure that you do. But again, it's going to take commitment. So book in for a 15-minute scale-up call. Let's see if we can help you right now. We will be closing off entries into our Sales Academy in 7 days' time, and that's it. It will be done and dusted for at least 90 days. So this is essentially your last chance. Something that I've just shared in an e-blast we just sent out is, in the Wild West of old, it was 2 types of people out there. There was the quick and there was the dead. You're either quick to take action, or you might as well be dead. I don't want that for you in the next 12 months. I want you to be quick. I want you to take action. So give us 15 minutes of your time. We'll give you free tips, and we'll part as friends if we can't help you. We'll point you in the right direction and fire you up for the year ahead, regardless of it. This, of course, is the end of the financial year in New Zealand. It is not the end of our years of growing our sales long term. Look at reviewing the last 12 months, no matter what financial year end you're working to. Look at the 4 areas. Remember the compounding effects. And if you want a little bit of help, some extra motivation free of charge, book in for a scale-up call now. And we look forward to seeing you thrive and grow in the year ahead. As always, ladies and gentlemen, be sure to take action.